Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of the Terran Embassy on Alderus Prime, watching the triple moons rise over the crystalline spires of the alien capital. Her reflection in the reinforced glass showed dark circles under her eyes, evidence of sleepless nights spent analyzing data that shouldn't exist. The holographic display beside her cycled through economic reports from Earth's outer colonies, each one telling the same impossible story. "They'd been playing us from the beginning," she whispered, her fingers tracing patterns in the condensation on the window. The numbers didn't lie. For the past 15 years, the Aldarian Collective had been systematically manipulating human colonial markets, creating artificial resource shortages, and steering Earth's expansion into carefully controlled sectors of space. The door chimed softly. "Enter," Sarah called, not turning from the window. Admiral James Torres stepped into the room, his dress uniform immaculate despite the late hour. The silver streaks in his black hair caught the alien moonlight. "Tell me you have better news," Sarah said, finally turning to face him. The Admiral's grim expression answered before his words could. "Proxima Beta just went dark," he reported, his voice tight with controlled anger. "Third colony this month to experience unexpected communication failures. The Aldarians have already offered to send their technical assistance teams." Sarah's laugh was bitter. "Of course they have. Another colony's infrastructure about to be thoroughly examined by our allies. How convenient." She walked to her desk and activated a secure holographic display. A three-dimensional map of human space materialized between them, with the affected colonies highlighted in red. The pattern was obvious now that they knew to look for it. A systematic isolation of humanity's most resource-rich worlds. "We've confirmed the energy signatures?" she asked, though she already knew the answer. Torres nodded, pulling up additional data with a gesture. "Quantum dampening fields, carefully calibrated to disrupt our standard communication arrays while appearing like natural phenomena. Sophisticated enough that we wouldn't have detected them if Dr. Rivera hadn't developed those new sensors." Sarah felt a familiar tension headache building behind her eyes. The Aldarians had presented themselves as mentors when humanity first achieved faster-than-light travel, offering guidance and technology to the newest members of the galactic community. Now, 15 years later, the truth was becoming clear. Humanity had been carefully corralled and contained, their development subtly guided to prevent them from becoming a true competitive force. "The Council won't believe us without irrefutable proof," she said, studying the map. "And even then, they'll argue it's all perfectly legal under existing treaties." Torres stepped closer to the display, his face illuminated by the holographic light. "Then perhaps it's time we stop playing by their rules." He pulled up another file, this one heavily encrypted. "Project Aurora is ready." Sarah's breath caught. She'd heard whispers about the classified research program, but nothing concrete. "Already? I thought we were years away from a breakthrough." Dr. Rivera and his team achieved quantum fold stability 3 months ago. "We have 5 ships built and 20 more nearly complete in the lunar shipyards, ships that the Aldarians know nothing about." Sarah stared at the technical specifications floating before her, her mind racing through the implications. The Aldarians believed they had humanity safely contained, developing along predetermined technological paths. They had no idea that Earth had been preparing for this moment, developing technologies that operated on entirely different principles than the standardized systems the Collective provided to developing species. "If we do this," she said slowly, "there's no going back. We'll be changing the balance of power in the entire sector." Torres met her gaze steadily. "They're strangling us, Sarah. Slowly, legally, but just as surely as if they were using weapons. How long before they don't even bother with the pretense? How long before they simply start taking what they want?" Sarah turned back to the window, looking out at the alien city that had been her home for the past 5 years. She thought of all the diplomatic niceties, the patronizing smiles, the carefully worded treaties that always somehow benefited the Collective more than humanity. Her fingers curled into fists. "Transmit everything we have to Earth Central. All the evidence, all the analysis. She took a deep breath. And tell Dr. Rivera to begin final preparations. If the Aldarians want to teach humanity a lesson about our place in the galaxy, they may find themselves learning one instead. Torres nodded crisply and turned to leave. At the door, he paused. The Aldarian High Council has requested your presence tomorrow. They want to discuss the Proxima Beta situation. Sarah smiled, but there was no warmth in it. Perfect. I look forward to hearing their explanation. It will be the last time they underestimate us. As the door closed behind him, Sarah returned to studying the holographic display. Somewhere in the Aldarian capital, in offices and chambers she would never see, aliens who thought themselves so superior were making plans based on a fundamental miscalculation. They thought they were dealing with a young, naive species that could be easily manipulated and controlled. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. Deep beneath the lunar surface, in a facility that didn't officially exist, Dr. Marcus Rivera watched his life's work take shape through the reinforced observation window. The massive chamber before him housed humanity's greatest technological achievement, and its best-kept secret. The prototype vessel suspended in the construction bay bore little resemblance to conventional spacecraft. Its hull seemed to bend light itself, the quantum fold matrices integrated into its structure, creating subtle distortions in spacetime. Even inactive, it radiated potential. Beautiful, isn't she? Dr. Yuki Tanaka asked, joining him at the window. His chief engineer's eyes held the same pride he felt every time they observed the ship. Final calibrations on the quantum core are complete. She's ready. Marcus nodded, checking the data streaming across his neural interface. Project Aurora had progressed faster than anyone had dared hope, driven by the growing evidence of Aldarian manipulation. While the aliens had carefully guided humanity toward standardized technologies, Marcus and his team had pursued an entirely different path. Director Chen's report just came in from Alderus Prime. Yuki said quietly, "The collective's moving faster than we anticipated. They're already establishing control over Proxima Beta's infrastructure." Marcus's jaw tightened. They still think we're blind to their actions, that we'll accept their assistance with gratitude. He turned from the window, walking to the central holographic display where the quantum fold drive's operational data flowed in complex patterns. "Show me the latest simulation results," he ordered. The AI complied instantly, projecting a detailed model of the ship's revolutionary propulsion system. Unlike conventional FTL drives that push through spacetime, the quantum fold drive created controlled ruptures in reality itself, allowing for instantaneous translation between points. Energy efficiency is holding at 300% above projected requirements, Yuki reported, manipulating the display. "The Aldarians' quantum dampening fields won't affect us. We're operating on principles they haven't even theorized yet." Marcus allowed himself a small smile. They've been so focused on controlling our development, they never considered we might discover something they hadn't. He pulled up another display, showing the status of the other ships under construction. "How soon can we have the fleet ready?" "The first 5 ships can deploy immediately. Another 10 will be complete within 2 weeks. The remaining vessels need a month, assuming we maintain current production rates." A priority alert flashed across Marcus's neural interface. Admiral Torres was requesting a secure connection from Alderus Prime. He accepted, and the Admiral's holographic form materialized in the chamber. "Dr. Rivera," Torres said without preamble, "the situation's deteriorating. The Aldarians are moving up their timetable. We're detecting signs they're preparing to implement similar communication failures across all our major colonial systems." Marcus exchanged glances with Yuki. "They're getting bolder." "Or desperate," Torres replied. "Our economic expansion in the Carina sector must have spooked them. They're accelerating their containment strategy." "Then we'll accelerate ours," Marcus said firmly. He gestured, bringing up the specifications for the completed vessels. "The first wave of ships is ready. We can demonstrate our capabilities whenever you give the word." Torres's hologram nodded grimly. Director Chen is meeting with the Aldarian High Council tomorrow. Once they make their play, we'll have our justification. Be prepared to launch within 48 hours. After the Admiral's hologram faded, Marcus turned back to the observation window. The prototype ship, officially designated QFS-001, though the crew had taken to calling her Aurora, seemed to pulse with anticipation. Send word to all project leads, he told Yuki. Final preparations begin now. And contact Dr. Carter in weapons development. I want to ensure the quantum lance arrays are fully integrated and tested. The Aldarians won't know what hit them, Yuki said, her fingers dancing across holographic controls as she relayed the orders. That's the idea, Marcus replied. He thought of all the years of secret development, the thousands of scientists and engineers who had worked in complete isolation to create something unprecedented. They thought they could control humanity's advancement by feeding us standardized technology and restricting our development paths. Their mistake was assuming we'd only look where they led us, Yuki added. Marcus watched as maintenance drones swarmed around Aurora, making final adjustments to her quantum-fold matrices. No, he said quietly. Their mistake was thinking they could cage humanity at all. In the chambers beyond, 4 more ships waited in their construction cradles. Soon, they would emerge from humanity's secret lunar facility and show the galaxy that the age of Aldarian manipulation was over. The quantum-fold drive wasn't just a new method of propulsion. It was a declaration of independence. And somewhere in the vast darkness between the stars, reality itself waited to be reshaped by humanity's ingenuity. Fleet Commander Maya Patel sat motionless in her command chair aboard the QSS Aurora as the quantum sensors reported what she'd been both expecting and dreading. The Aldarian warships had dropped out of FTL above Nova Esperanza, their weapons already charging. 6 heavy cruisers and 12 support vessels, her tactical officer, Lieutenant James Chen, reported. Standard Aldarian assault formation. They're broadcasting the usual technical assistance declaration, claiming they're responding to communications disruptions. Maya's dark eyes narrowed as she watched the sensor feed. From their hidden position in the quantum fold, Aurora and her sister ships could observe without being detected. The Aldarians had no idea they were being watched. Colony status, she asked, her voice steady despite the anger building in her chest. Governor Rodriguez reports all civilians are in the shelters. Defense platforms are powered down as ordered. The Aldarians will think their dampening fields are working. James's hands moved across his console. They're launching dropships. Looks like they're not even bothering with the pretense of asking permission this time. Maya opened a secure channel to the other ships in her command. The faces of 4 other captains appeared on her display, each commanding a vessel identical to Aurora. Together, they represented humanity's first quantum fleet. The Aldarians have crossed the line, she said simply. They're launching a direct invasion of Nova Esperanza. Are all ships prepared for emergence? Captain Sarah Wong of QSS Hyperion spoke first. Quantum fold drives are primed. Weapons systems online. The other captains reported similar readiness. Maya took a deep breath, thinking of all the simulations and training exercises that had led to this moment. Now it was time to see if humanity's new ships could perform as well in actual combat. Send word to Earth Central. Operation Daybreak is commencing. She straightened in her chair. All ships, prepare for quantum emergence. Target coordinates locked. We show them exactly what humanity has been working on while they thought they had us contained. The quantum fold drive hummed to life, its revolutionary technology preparing to tear a hole in reality itself. Unlike conventional FTL travel, there would be no warning for the Aldarians, no sensor readings to alert them of incoming ships. All ships report ready, Commander, James announced. Quantum lance arrays charged and targeted. Maya's fingers tightened on her armrests. Execute emergence. Let's introduce ourselves. Reality split open above Nova Esperanza. 5 tiers in spacetime appeared simultaneously, surrounding the Aldarian fleet. Through these quantum breaches emerged ships unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. vessels that seemed to bend light around their hulls, powered by technology that should have been impossible. For 3 seconds, there was absolute silence across all communication channels as the Eldarians tried to process what they were seeing. Maya allowed herself a small smile. "This is Fleet Commander Maya Patul of the Earth Defense Force." She broadcast on all frequencies. "You are engaged in an unauthorized invasion of human territory. You have 30 seconds to power down your weapons and recall your dropships." The Eldarian response was predictable. They opened fire. Energy beams and plasma torpedoes launched toward the human vessels. Maya watched calmly as the attacks passed harmlessly through the quantum-shifted fields surrounding her ships. "I was hoping they'd do that," she said quietly. "All ships, you are cleared to engage. Show them what a quantum lance can do." Aurora's main weapon powered up, drawing energy directly from the quantum realm. A beam of pure blue-white light lanced out, cutting through the Eldarian flagship's shields as if they didn't exist. The massive cruiser split in half, secondary explosions blooming along its length. "Multiple Eldarian ships powering up FTL drives," James reported. "They're trying to retreat." "QFs Hyperion and Orion, cut off their escape vectors," Maya ordered. "Quantum fold in their path. The rest of us will deal with those dropships." No Eldarian forces reached the surface. The battle that followed lasted less than 5 minutes. Against conventional ships, it would have been called a massacre. Against humanity's quantum fleet, it was more like a demonstration. Eldarian weapons designed to fight normal space battles proved useless against vessels that could partially exist in multiple realities at once. When it was over, the space above Nova Esperanza was littered with the debris of the Eldarian fleet. Only one ship remained intact, a small communications vessel Maya had deliberately spared. "Open a channel to the surviving ship," she ordered. When the connection was established, she saw the shocked faces of the Eldarian crew, their scaled skin pale with fear. "Return to your superiors," Maya said clearly. "Tell them that humanity is no longer accepting their assistance. Tell them that the next Eldarian ship that enters human space without explicit permission will meet the same fate." She paused, letting her next words carry weight. "And tell them that we're coming to discuss a new arrangement for our peoples." After the Eldarian ship fled, Maya opened a channel to the colony below. Governor Rodriguez's face appeared, tears of joy streaming down her cheeks. "Thank you," the governor said simply. "We've waited so long for this day." Maya nodded. "The waiting is over. Humanity has shown its hand." She turned to her crew, seeing the pride in their faces. "Now we move to Phase 2. The Eldarians thought they could keep humanity confined and controlled. Time to show them just how wrong they were." Beyond the viewport, the quantum fold rippled with potential, ready to carry Earth's ships to their next target. The age of human subjugation was over. The age of quantum supremacy had begun. The Eldarian High Council chamber had never been so silent. Supreme Counselor Vex Thor watched the holographic replay for the 3rd time, his iridescent scales dulled with shock as he observed humanity's quantum ships tear through their finest fleet like paper. "Impossible," whispered Council Elder Mirethel, her crystalline sensory appendages trembling. Their technology level was monitored. Contained. How did they develop this without our knowledge? The answer came from an unexpected source. Dr. Sarah Chen walked into the chamber unannounced, her diplomatic credentials overriding the emergency lockdown. The human's presence caused a ripple of unease among the gathered counselors. "You made a fundamental mistake," Sarah said, her voice carrying in the vast chamber. "You assumed that because you could track our official research, monitor our registered facilities, and control our trade routes, you knew everything we were capable of." She approached the central platform, triggering her own holographic display. A map of human space appeared, but not the one the Eldarians were familiar with. This one showed dozens of hidden facilities, secret research stations, and quantum communication networks that had operated completely outside their surveillance. "While you were watching what we wanted you to see," Humanity was working in the shadows you created. Sarah's smile held no warmth. You taught us that lesson, after all. Every restriction you placed on us became a challenge to overcome. Every technology you denied us forced us to innovate in ways you never imagined. Across human space, Operation Quantum Dawn was unfolding. Maya Patel's fleet was just the first wave. From hidden shipyards throughout the solar system, more quantum ships emerged. They appeared above every human world where Aldarian assistance teams had established their hidden control centers. Admiral Torres stood on the bridge of QS Prometheus, watching tactical displays as reports flooded in. The Aldarians were trying to mount a coordinated defense, but their conventional warships were helpless against quantum technology. Their attempts to retreat were futile. The quantum ships could predict and intercept their FTL trajectories with perfect accuracy. "Sir," his communications officer reported, "we're receiving surrender signals from Aldarian installations on 15 colonies. Their ground forces are standing down." Torres nodded grimly. "Secure their facilities. Download everything. I want to know exactly what they've been doing to our worlds." Back in the council chamber, Vexthor found his voice. "This is an act of war," he growled. "The collective will not stand for this aggression." Sarah laughed. "Aggression? Like systematically infiltrating our colonies, like sabotaging our communications to create dependencies on your systems, like manipulating our markets to keep us economically bound to your interests." She placed a data crystal on the central console. "We have proof of everything. Every secret directive, every hidden operation, every violation of our treaties." The data began playing across the chamber's displays. Years of Aldarian manipulation, exposed in precise detail. Some of the younger counselors turned away, their scales flushing with shame. "You have two choices," Sarah continued. "You can acknowledge our independence and sovereignty, beginning immediate negotiations for fair and equal relations between our peoples. Or," she gestured to where another quantum tear was forming outside the chamber's windows. Through it emerged the QFs of Aurora, its hull gleaming with barely contained power. "Or we can demonstrate just how completely we've surpassed your ability to control us," she finished quietly. In lunar orbit, Dr. Marcus Rivera was overseeing the launch of the next wave of quantum ships when Dr. Tanaka rushed into his office. "The Aldarian defense networks," she said breathlessly. "They're falling faster than we anticipated." Their entire command and control structure was based on the assumption that no one could operate outside their approved technological frameworks. Marcus nodded, studying the streams of data flooding his neural interface. They built their empire on technological superiority and the careful control of other species' development. We just showed them that their foundation was built on sand. Across the galaxy, other species were watching. Races that had lived under Aldarian guidance for centuries saw humanity break free in a matter of days. The quantum ships represented more than just military superiority. They were proof that the collective's carefully maintained technological hierarchy was a lie. On Nova Esperanza, Maya Patel stood with Governor Rodriguez, watching colonists tear down the Aldarian monitoring devices that had been hidden throughout their cities. "Will they retaliate?" Rodriguez asked quietly. Maya shook her head. "They can't. We're not just ahead of them technologically. We're operating on principles they haven't even discovered yet. Their entire strategic doctrine is based on controlling known space. We can operate in dimensions they can't even detect." She looked up at the sky, where quantum distortions shimmered like aurora borealis, the visible signs of humanity's ships patrolling in layers of reality beyond conventional space. "The galaxy is about to change," she said. "The age of Aldarian dominance is over. The question now is, what will we build in its place?" 1 month after Operation Quantum Dawn, the galaxy looked very different. The Grand Assembly Hall of the newly established Galactic Concordat hummed with activity as representatives from 24 species gathered to sign the Framework for Mutual Advancement Treaty. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the podium, surveying the assembled delegates. The Aldarians were present, though they no longer dominated the central positions. Their delegation sat among equals now, their once bright scales subdued. Beside them were the Orcs, the Ven, and other species that had lived for centuries under Aldarian guidance. "The age of technological suppression is over," Sarah declared, her voice carrying to every corner of the hall. "Today we establish a new foundation for galactic cooperation, one based on genuine exchange and mutual growth, not control and dependency." In orbit above, Fleet Commander Maya Patel watched the proceedings from Aurora's bridge. The quantum ships now served as peacekeepers, ensuring no one would disrupt this crucial transition. But their very existence had already changed everything. Incoming transmission from Lunar Base, Lieutenant Chen reported. "Dr. Rivera wants to show you something." The holographic feed opened, showing Marcus Rivera standing before a new prototype vessel. Unlike the warships they'd built in secret, this one was clearly designed for exploration. "The QFS Horizon," Marcus said proudly. "Our first dedicated quantum exploration ship. She can reach parts of the galaxy we never thought possible, pierce the veil between dimensions. Just imagine what we'll discover." Maya smiled. "From breaking chains to breaking boundaries. Seems appropriate." Back in the assembly hall, the treaty signing was underway. Supreme Counselor Vex Thor, now simply the Aldarian representative, approached the document with obvious reluctance. His hand trembled slightly as he pressed his seal into the quantum-encoded paper. "You must hate us," he said quietly to Sarah as he stepped away. She shook her head. "No. In a way, we should thank you. Your attempts to contain us forced us to think differently, to look for paths you'd never considered. You taught us the value of hidden strength, of patience, of working in the shadows until the moment was right." "And now," he asked, "what will humanity do with its supremacy?" Sarah gestured to where Dr. Rivera's hologram was sharing the designs for basic quantum technology with representatives from various worlds. "We'll do what you should have done from the beginning. We'll help others rise, not keep them down. Every species has potential you never imagined. It's time to let them reach for it." Admiral Torres, watching from his position near the security station, received a priority update from Earth Central. The first joint research initiative was already bearing fruit. A team of human, Orcs, and even some forward-thinking Aldarian scientists had made breakthroughs in quantum field theory that surpassed anything humanity had achieved alone. "Remarkable what happens when you let people innovate freely, isn't it?" Dr. Tanaka said, joining him at his observation post. She'd been instrumental in adapting quantum technology for civilian applications. "We've had more technological advancement in the past month than in the previous decade. Because everyone's working together now," Torres replied. "No more artificial barriers. No more controlled development paths." He paused, checking another report. The Ven just successfully tested their first quantum communication array, designed and built entirely by their own scientists, using just our basic principles. Sarah concluded her address to the assembly. "Let this day be remembered not as a triumph of one species over another, but as the moment we all chose to move forward together. The quantum realm has shown us that reality has more layers than we ever imagined. It's time we stopped limiting ourselves to just one way of seeing the universe." As if to emphasize her words, the QF's Horizon activated its quantum drive for the first time. Outside the assembly hall's windows, reality split open in a display of impossible colors. The exploration vessel slipped into the quantum fold, heading for the unknown reaches of space. Maya watched it go, feeling the sense of pride and possibility. "Send word to all ships," she ordered. "The quantum fleet has a new mission now. We're not here to dominate. We're here to ensure everyone has the chance to reach their full potential." In his lunar laboratory, Marcus Rivera was already working on new designs, collaborating with scientists from a dozen worlds. The quantum technology that had freed humanity from Aldarian control was evolving in ways even he hadn't predicted. "You know what the best part is?" he asked Dr. Tanaka as they reviewed the latest theoretical models. "We're still just scratching the surface. The quantum realm holds more secrets than any one species could discover alone. But together." He let the thought hang in the air as another breakthrough notification flashed across their screens. Somewhere in the vast expanse of space-time, reality itself seemed to hum with possibility. The age of quantum cooperation had begun, and with it, the promise of discoveries beyond imagination. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly what humanity had been fighting for all along.